All right, so let's just keep it real. A lot of men want love. A lot of men do want a relationship. There may be a lot of negative perceptions on dating today and how women are and just the whole dynamic that's going on in a lot of modern relationships, modern dating, whatever you want to call it. But that doesn't change the fact that at some point in a man's life, some much sooner than others, he wants someone that he can be with, share his life with, and have a good, healthy relationship with. And due to this reality, you do have a lot of men who tend to rush to that stage, rush to trying to find that woman that they can be with. And in their rush to pursue that, overlooking some very important things that foundationally need to be set before trying to start a new relationship with a woman. Now, I want to kind of reiterate this and make this clear. There's nothing wrong with a man who wants a relationship or who wants love. Do not let a lot of the jaded perceptions out there make you feel ashamed of that. No, it's just who you are. And some guys are what I like to call relationship guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. Be true to yourself because you find more happiness and peace there. You know what I'm saying? But you need to be mindful of what work needs to be put in first. And there's various reasons for it. Let me break it down for you. The first thing you should do before getting into a relationship is find your purpose. All right. You know, I always say if you don't know where you're headed in life, you don't know who belongs on that path with you. There's a lot of men who found the woman first, found purpose second. And when they found purpose, realized this woman doesn't fit. This woman cannot support the man I am today, the man I am becoming, the things that I want to accomplish in my life. And because of this, she becomes an anchor in your life. She can derail you. And listen, we have to recognize that women have a very strong influential power, especially when it's a woman that you're truly emotionally invested in and love. I've seen so many men lose out on huge opportunities, scholarships, you name it, business opportunities, all because they got caught up with the wrong woman who did not align with where their purpose was. So by you taking that time to figure this out now, you are going to save yourself a lot of headache. And you're going to increase your chances of being able to be with someone that you can find harmony with. Now, I know for a lot of you, finding purpose is a difficult thing. I, as a man of God, am a firm believer that getting closer to God will help you find purpose. I believe things like a little bit of solitude and using tools like fasting and praying can help bring you more clarity and understanding of self. But also, I think that when we're in pursuit of purpose, we have to not get caught up in trying to see the big picture. It's really just about, okay, what's my next step? What is the next thing I need to do or God wants me to do right now that will then lead to that bigger thing, all right? Because you may not be ready for the big picture yet. You just need to know, what should I do next? For some of you, it might be pursuing a certain kind of education. Now, I know you might be saying, well, if I don't understand the big picture, how will I know what small steps to take? And that's a good question. I think depending on what speaks to you spiritually or what you feel like is going to be your thing, that's going to help you understand what pieces you have to put together. But for some of you, let's just say you're not even that spiritual. And again, maybe that whole process is a lot more difficult for you. Well, then at the very least, figure out what is your vision for your life in the next 5 years. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I had never been someone that looked 5 years ahead. All right. But I do think that if at the very least you can say to yourself, okay, you know what? I know that I will be happy. And I'm just using this as an example. I would be happy being a lawyer. And it's not even just about being happy. I know that I feel like this is one of my gifts. This is where I belong. And this is how I can serve the people, because purpose is about how you serve others. It's not about just self. It's not about what I just like and feels good. It's about how can I pour in to society and community as a whole using my gift. So yeah, if being a lawyer is one of those things, all right, now next step is, okay, what do I need to do to start this process? And it might be, okay, you got to go to college, things of that nature. One way or another, you just want to create some kind of a vision and plan for yourself, because that also creates stability in your life. And women are going to need stability. One quick story before we move on to the next point. There was a guy who he had a job and things were going well, but he could not see himself at this job within the next few years. But not only could he not see himself there, he doesn't know where he could see himself. And he found himself in this relationship where his lack of plan and vision was making his woman feel very nervous and creating insecurity within her. And that was basically the start of a lot of arguments, a lot of issues, because once she doesn't feel safe, that's going to manifest into other problems in the relationship, because women need security, plain and simple. So had he had those things figured out in advance, I would argue those two people would probably still be together right now. But that whole thing led to a lot of problems, which eventually led to their breakup. And for some of you, for a lot of you, that breakup, when you're not in the right place or in a place where you have the right foundation, can be enough. That alone can be enough to derail you off of where you need to be going in your life. So I'm not going to ramble on any longer about this point, but finding your purpose or creating a vision and plan is definitely one of those things you need to do before you get into a relationship. All right, now the second thing a man should do before getting into a relationship is learn to lead himself. Okay? So, of course, if you don't believe in a man being being a leader in his relationship, then this point won't apply to you. But I think many of you will agree that you would like that kind of respect and responsibility in your relationship. And the reality, despite what many of you may hear or see on the internet, is that's what a lot of women crave. That's what they desire. You know, whenever I'm on tour, whenever I have my events, and I ask the women the question, do you believe in a man leading in a relationship? 99%, if not 100% of the crowd raises their hand yes. So she wants this. But if you have not learned how to lead yourself, how can you lead anyone else? And so as a man, it's important that you developed that character on your own. And again, it doesn't mean you're this perfect leader and everything is what it needs to be, though that's always going to be ideal. But we understand life comes fast, and you might meet a woman that you fall for and fall in love with before you've completed all these processes. But you definitely want to be on that journey of trying to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So when I say lead, one of the things that I would love to see men do, I'm not saying you have to do it, but I think it's extremely beneficial, is for a man to live by himself for at least a year. All right? Because I believe that in that, he will learn certain responsibilities. He will learn how to make certain decisions. He will learn how to handle things in a way that now when he joins with a woman, he will be able to show leadership. He will be able to show wisdom. He will be able to show a better understanding of how to navigate the things that life may throw at you. But when you go from living at your parents' house to now living with a woman, a lot of that gets lost, all right? And you've never learned how to develop the qualities that are going to be needed and that that woman, will highly respect. But again, it's not just about living on your own. It's just about handling your business, you know, and giving yourself the responsibility of getting things done. learning how to, if you got to create a to-do list daily on what needs to be handled, and you get in the habit of knocking things out, you know what I'm saying? And not just always looking for others to help you and do this for you and assist you here. You've got to be able to take care of you. And now when you're able to achieve that, your ability to take care of her becomes so much easier and will allow the relationship to be what it really needs to, or what will allow it to flourish at a higher level. All right, so now the third thing a man needs to do before entering into a relationship is master your emotions. So one of the things that have derailed so many men, so many relationships, have been a man's struggle with his emotions. And that can come in various forms, all right? Let me start with one, not knowing how to properly express yourself. And so for a lot of men, there's this tendency to suppress things and not be open about it. And what that can lead to is, at some point, you're gonna get triggered to where everything just comes out. And now you have these outbursts, or you have these overly emotional moments, you know what I'm saying, that don't look good. And that can cause a lot of problems, or that can lead to you saying or doing things you should not have done. Part of mastering your emotions is learning how to release them so that it never just builds up. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, you can't be open when it comes to a woman. You know, you can't tell them everything. They'll throw it back in your face, all these things. And you've heard that advice on the internet. I see things differently. I believe that you should open up to a woman, because if she does throw it back in your face, or if she does belittle you or whatever, or disrespect you, then that you have now exposed what kind of woman you're dealing with. So essentially, when you continue to hold back, you don't get to see the character of this woman. And I know some of you may think, well, they all do it. They all act like this. No, they don't all act like this. They don't. And I would argue, the more into you that she is, and of course, it's part of her being matured and having developed in certain ways, the better she's going to be at handling these things. You know what I'm saying? So you've got to, I hate to say it like this, but you got to give her the rope and see if she hangs herself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it's on her to show you, can she handle your emotions? Now, again, you still have a responsibility as a man to learn how to properly communicate, how to effectively express yourself to her. You still have to be mindful of that. But you should not hold back, because you're only causing bigger problems. Not only in your struggle in processing and handling your emotion, but in creating a lack of trust, because now she feels like you're holding things back from her. You know what I'm saying? You're creating secrecy, and secrecy can lead to confusion. Confusion can lead to chaos, and it just goes downhill from there. So I would encourage you to open up. So that's one of the aspects of mastering your emotions. The other aspect of mastering your emotions is what happens to so many men when they meet that woman that they truly fall for and they're really into, is that, excuse my language, but sometimes we can turn into little bitches, right? Like, we just keeping it real. Like, we revert to this, I guess I'm trying to find the right words, but we don't handle that too well. We slide out of our masculine. Let's put it like that. We tend to slide out of our masculine because, again, we're not accustomed to handling all these real feelings we have for someone. And we've been told that we have to just love her and pour into her and show her how much we care. Which, yes, but there's a line, there's a way that we have to do this while maintaining our masculine frame, so to speak. I like to call it loving in your masculine, all right? And so to achieve that, there is a level of mastering emotion, learning how to express yourself in confidence and with poise, rather than being all over the place. So it's kind of like, it's one thing to be like, oh my gosh, I love you. I don't know what I'll do without you. Please don't leave me, blah, 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 blah. Versus, listen, I love you. You mean the world to me. I don't want to be without you. But, if it comes to the point where we have to walk away, then, I'm willing to do that. And I added that second part just to say it, but do you see the difference? Even if we just left it as, I love you, I care about you, I want to be with you. One is just all over, it's frantic, it's this lack of control of our emotions. And the other is controlled, poised, it's still saying the same things, but it's doing it within the masculine energy that she still loves and respects. When you learn how to do that, you are setting yourself up for greater success in a relationship. All right, so let's keep this thing moving. The next thing that I believe that a man needs to do before entering into a relationship is define the lifestyle that you desire. So one of the mistakes I feel men make is trying to get with a woman because you're highly attracted to her, you like her, all these things, right? But not understanding if she fits the lifestyle that you desire for yourself. So let's just say, for example, you're a simple man. You don't like all the fancy luxury stuff. You don't need all that. That does not impress you. That does nothing for you. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's who you are, right? You meet this wonderful, amazing, beautiful woman. You guys have great conversation. That's great. But she likes to live the high life. All right. She wants the fancy things. If you don't understand that this woman does not fit your lifestyle, you're asking for problems. There's been tons of men who will then, in that situation, try to accommodate that woman early on by overspending and doing all this extra stuff, trying to impress her because they really want her, but not realizing that you can't sustain that because that's not the life you want to live. It's not who you are. So you're setting yourself up for major frustration because you're not going to be able to keep pouring into this woman the way she's looking for. You are setting her up because she's thinking she's getting one thing and you're going to turn the tables on her later. That's asking for a huge problem down the road. None of you are going to be happy. Both of you are going to resent each other. It's going to all fall apart. So you got to take a moment to ask yourself, what are my values? What is my lifestyle? What is important to me? Establish those things. And now this is part of the foundation or the basis that we use to evaluate if a woman fits into your life. You can't be going around trying to fit into a woman's life. That's going to leave you run ragged and just like, it's going to mess you up. Plain and simple. No, you have to figure out what's your thing, what's going to make you happy. And now it's which woman can get down with that and who can't. And if she can't, we have to be willing to accept that, yes, I may like her. She may be so fine, whatever the case may be, but she doesn't fit. She doesn't fit. I'm here to tell you, we hear all these horror stories of women leaving men. I know the statistic is like 70% of divorces are initiated by women and all these different things. And it seems like a lot of men being left high and dry. But I'm here to tell you as a coach, a lot of these situations should have never started to begin with. They never belonged together. They never fit together. Someone had to pull the trigger. Someone. And unfortunately, a lot of these dudes, even when they're in these toxic, unhealthy relationships, aren't willing to pull the trigger. Various reasons for that, but they don't. And then she eventually does. The outside world may say, oh, these women keep leaving these men. No, but they don't belong together. A lot of men are horrible selectors of girlfriends and wives. I don't want that to be you. So the way to help eliminate that, figure out the life you want to live and hold strong to that and be confident about what works for you. All right, and now last but not least, the other thing you need to do before getting into a relationship as a man is establishing and strengthening your relationship with God. Now, for a lot of you, y'all may not care for this part. This may not be your thing, right? But listen, I got to speak from my value system and what I believe is going to be extremely helpful for you men. And let me tell you, it's really hard to navigate this life without having that relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? And the sooner that you can get there, the better. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean, people are going to view you as this perfect believer or whatever. I don't want you to overthink that part of it. I don't want you to worry about perceptions and rules and little intricacies about how this belief system works. I just want you to focus on connecting with your spirit, connecting with God. That's it. I don't care what label you use, what religion, whatever. We're not worried about that. Just get with God, because in that, this is going to be one of the biggest pieces, at least it has been for me, what allowed me to find my purpose, what allowed me to understand on a deeper level who I am and be confident about the life that I want to live, what allowed me to gain better control of my emotions. You know what I'm saying? All these things we talked about, having God is what helped me accomplish it and cultivate it and nurture it the way that it needed to. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is that I'm a firm believer that, again, part of the reason why so many men have chosen the wrong woman is because they're missing the spiritual component. They're only seeing things from their logical mind, what makes sense to them, what on paper looks good to them, even though I would argue, even in those scenarios, they're overlooking some clear red flags. But aside from that, they're missing the deeper level that needs to be evaluated and investigated. And it's hard to do that, if not damn near impossible, if you don't have a strong enough spiritual connection with self, with God. So again, when we talk about establishing that relationship, I just want you to focus on more like praying more, you know what I'm saying? Talking to God more, reading books. I know for me, like, I couldn't just jump right into the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, I'm not really good at reading the Bible, if I'm being honest. But what helped me was reading books that referenced it or reference other, because again, for you, maybe it's something else. It may not be the Bible, but reference spiritual texts. Help me understand on a different level while still giving me some of the logical approach or the logical expression of information that allow me to retain it better. Because again, some things that we read in scripture ain't going to make sense to us. You know what I'm saying? But when we have someone else breaking it down for us through a book, through teaching, whatever, it helps it resonate a lot better. So just start the process. That's all I'm saying. Because I do believe it's going to be helpful for you. Because ultimately, my wish for you, for all the men watching this, is to become the man that God created you to be. And if it's for you to have that amazing woman, for you to receive that and have a happy, successful relationship. Yo, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check this one out over here on the 3 reasons why men should stay single. You need to stay single until you learn to master your masculine energy. This is a huge deal, okay? I'm telling you right now, men don't succeed. Again,